Welcome to the Stranger Things Season 4 quiz. Still remember Season 4, or is it time for a rewatch? 30 questions, 3 options, 5 seconds each. Before we start, if you're new here, please subscribe to our channel for more fabulous videos. Alright, let's get started. Who is Vecna? An evolved demogorgon that uses psychic powers to attack the minds of Hawkins residents. A burned killer who invades the teenagers' nightmares in Hawkins and murders them. Henry Creel, a powerful psychic who murdered his mother and sister and framed his father. C. What are Vecna's powers? Telekinesis, telepathy, causing visions, remote killing, and opening gates. Remote killing, time control, creating nightmares, and possession. A petrifying stare, a knockout breath, and the power to ruin parties. A. What happens to Vecna after he kills his family? He's convicted of the murders and sent to a maximum security facility, where Dr. Brenner experiments on his powers. He falls into a coma and wakes up in Dr. Brenner's lab, who brands him as one and launches the Psychic Children program. He falls into a coma but wakes up just in time to go to the Snowball 84. B. How was Vecna planning to escape the lab? By tricking Eleven into removing his power-suppressing device, killing everyone, and asking her to join his side. By faking illness, going to the infirmary, killing the staff, and sneaking out in a stolen coat and badge. By hiding in a trash bin so a garbage truck would carry him outside. A. How does Vecna's plan end? Eleven sends him to the Upside Down, where he shapes a particle cloud into the Mind Flayer, inspired by his spider obsession. Eleven tries to stop him, but Vecna escapes to the Upside Down, teams up with a Mind Flayer, and plans Hawkins' invasion. Eleven puts him in the friend zone and blasts him into the Upside Down, where he becomes a trainer of bats and demo dogs. A. How does Vecna open gates between the Upside Down and our world? By widening the cracks left by the gates opened before. By connecting to the Upside Down's vines and killing someone, which opens a gate where the victim dies. By taking a running start and slamming his head into a wall. B. What is Vecna's goal? To kill people with unresolved trauma, feed on their pain, grow stronger, and take over the world. To open a gate in every bathroom in Hawkins so no one ever feels safe again during their most private moments. To kill 4 people and open 4 gates that spread across Hawkins, so he can rule our world and wipe out humanity. C. Who is hunted for Vecna's murders? The police hunt Eddie as a supposed Satanist, and Jason's gang hunts Lucas, thinking he's the killer. The FBI targets Murray just for knowing Russian, and Jason's vigilantes think anyone in a skull t-shirt is guilty. The police and Jason's gang hunt Eddie as a Satanist, and Colonel Sullivan hunts Eleven, thinking she's using her remote killing power. C. What happens to Eleven after she attacks her bully? She's sent to juvenile detention, but Owens intercepts the transport and takes her to a secret base to regain her powers. She is detained in a juvenile prison, where FBI agents pressure her to confess to the murders. Her whole class hoists her up and parades her around town. A. What is Nina? A sensory deprivation tank with screens showing Hawkins' lab tapes, built by Brenner to restore Eleven's memories and powers. An underground bunker full of Hawkins' lab gear, where Brenner restarts his experiments on Eleven. A small woman. A. What does 11 gain from Project Nina, besides her powers? She comes to trust Brenner, believing he always tried to protect her. She gains the ability not to fall asleep while floating on her back for hours. She realizes she isn't the monster behind the lab massacre, but that it's Brenner, whose project made it all possible. C. What happens when 11 gets her powers back? She sees what's happening in Hawkins and wants to use Nina to enter the void, track Vecna, and kill him. She sees her friends in danger and wants to help, but Brenner sedates her, thinking she's not ready yet. She spies on Mike and finds out he's cheating on her with Will. B. How does 11 escape when Sullivan attacks the lab? Owens barricades himself with 11 in the control room and sends her out on a maintenance elevator. Brenner flees with 11 but is killed by a sniper in a helicopter, which 11 then slams to the ground with her powers. 11 spins all the signs with her powers so the soldiers end up in the cafeteria while she strolls out the front door. B. What happens to Hopper after the key explodes? He's hurled into the upside down through the gate and survives among the monsters, waiting for another gate to come back. He's blasted out like a cork and crash lands in a pumpkin patch. He jumps clear before the blast but is captured and sent to a Soviet prison. C. How does Hopper try to escape? He bribes guard Antonov, who helps him escape, but then betrays him, and he's recaptured. He and the Demogorgon make a fake head, leave it on the pillow, and sneak out through holes in their cell walls. He bribes guard Antonov, who contacts Joyce. She and Murray go to the prison and help them escape the Demogorgon arena. C. What do they find inside the prison? A new gate opened by an underground key, used by the Soviets to capture the Demogorgon and several Demodogs. Demodogs in the freezer, revealing the slop the cook served wasn't exactly cabbage soup. Demodogs and a live mind flayer fragment revealing a new gate in Hawkins, so they kill the monsters to weaken the hive mind. C. What happens to Jonathan, Mike and Will in California? Owen's men watch them, but when Sullivan's soldiers attack looking for 11, they escape in Argyle's van. Sullivan's men watch them, but they slip away in Argyle's van while the agents are watching TV. They order a pizza from Argyle, start having Vecna-style visions, and wonder what was in that pizza. A. How did they track down 11? An Owens agent gives them a map with a spot marked near a military base before dying. 11 links her mind to the van's radio and guides them to her like a built-in GPS. A dying Owens agent gives a lab computer's phone number, and with Susie's help they trace its coordinates. C. How does 11 help her friends in Hawkins from far away? She finds Vecna in the upside down and hurls him out the attic window, forcing him to retreat. She dives into Vecna's mind and tortures him with visions of her crushing every spider in his collection. She psychically connects to Max while floating in a makeshift tank at a pizzeria and fights Vecna. C. Why is Max one of Vecna's chosen victims? He preys on her trauma from witnessing Billy's death and on her guilt for not helping him. She's had nightmares ever since the Starcourt battle and Vecna goes after people with restless sleep. Vecna hates Kate Bush. A. How does Max escape Vecna's curse? Listening to her favorite song on headphones helps her escape Vecna's visions, as Henry's father suggested in the mental hospital. Lucas asks her to focus on one happy memory and turn it into a mental corridor to escape. The boys start singing the Kate Bush song, but they're so off-key that Vecna just gives up. A. How did they figure out where Vecna's lair is? They plot Vecna's attacks on a map and see the lines all converge on the abandoned Creel house. They just guess it's the Creel house because it's the creepiest place in Hawkins. Max draws the ruins from her vision. Nancy puts them together like a puzzle and recognizes the abandoned Creel house. C. How did they pinpoint the exact spot in the house where Vecna operates? While a victim is killed, all the lights in the attic flare up, signaling a surge of energy from the upside down. As they move through the house, they realize their compasses only go haywire in the middle of the attic. In the attic, Robin makes a joke and someone laughs behind the wall, so they figure only a psycho like Vecna would find her funny. A. How did the kids discover a new gate, and what happens when they find it? When they return to Eddie's, they find a gate in the ceiling and use it to enter the upside down and go after Vecna. Dustin's compass lead them to Watergate in the lake. Steve dives in, is sucked into the upside down, and his friends follow. Watergate opens, the lake drains like a tub with no plug, and they get sucked in too. B. What does Nancy find out in the upside down? Objects that move on their own, mirroring how they move in our world. The poster in her room shows Vecna instead of Tom Cruise. The upside down version of her house is frozen in 1983, when the first gate opened. C. How does the group gets back to our world, and what happens when they do? They return through Watergate, while Vecna shows Max visions of Hawkins in a storm of red lightning. They climb a bedsheet rope through Eddie's ceiling gate as Vecna shows Nancy his past and Hawkins' dark future. On the highway where Fred died, they miss the gate and fall through it like an open manhole. B. What's Nancy's plan to kill Vecna? Max lures Vecna with Lucas on music duty, while Nancy, Steve, and Robin attack him in the upside down and Eddie distracts the bats. Max goes back into a trance while Nancy, Steve, and Robin cut vines in the upside down to sever Vecna from the hive mind. Driving Vecna insane by blasting Running Up That Hill on repeat in his attic for 48 hours. A. What goes wrong with Nancy's plan? The bats kill Eddie, Jason stops Lucas from saving Max with the music, vines trap the others, and Vecna breaks Max's bones and blinds her. The bats kill Eddie, then swarm the Creel house and trap the others, while Vecna immobilizes 11 and kills Max. Sensitive only to ultrasounds, the bats ignore Eddie's guitar and go straight for Steve's hairsprayed hair. A. 11 holds Vecna in place while Nancy's group attacks. What happens to him? He falls out of the attic window and gets away. He falls out of the attic window, hits the ground and disintegrates. He looks in the mirror, realizes the Molotov burns actually improved his looks, and turns good. A. What happens at the end of Season 4? Max goes into cardiac arrest but paramedics save her, the fourth gate only half opens, and 11 collapses and loses her powers. The town splits in 4, the sky fills with ash, and some call it a minor quake. Max dies, the 4 gates join and tear the town apart as the Upside Down invades. 11 revives Max, but she stays in a coma. C. How many did you get right? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.